Hi everyone, today I want to speak to you about being responsible for your thinking, because what you think about really does matter, and there's so much evidence out there to show that our thinking has impact on our well-being. And I'm talking about all aspects of our well-being. So if we think about our intellectual well-being, our emotional, our cognitive and our physical. Let me break that down. So when I'm talking about intellectual, I'm thinking about our ability to come up with new ideas, to have critical thinking, to be creative. And our emotional, how we deal with our feelings, how we cope with challenges, and more importantly, how we bounce back from setbacks and challenges. Cognitive, I'm talking about our ability to process and acquire knowledge and understanding. And our physical, really about our body. So we all know, I'm sure everybody's experienced it, when you've been nervous about something and you know that what's going on in the back of your head, your subconscious mind is impacting your stomach, and you maybe feel a bit sick, feel a bit nauseous. So what we think about really does matter. And if we're carrying lots of stress, if we're having negative thoughts all the time, it's really impacting all those areas of our lives. In the Bible, it talks about, in Proverbs 23 verse 7, as someone thinks within himself, so he is. I think it's Joyce Meyer that this quote comes from, where she says, a negative mind produces negative words and leads to a negative life. So what I don't want is for any of us to have a negative life. We want to turn our negative thinking into positive thinking. And that is why mind management is so important. What is mind management? You see, it's us thinking about our thinking, being aware of what we're actually thinking about, being aware of what is healthy thinking and what is toxic thinking. And it's about us regulating our thinking, us self-regulating our thinking and reconceptualizing it. I am fascinated by Dr. Caroline Leaf, who is a neuroscientist, and she has done decades of study on the brain and our thinking. And she talked about, in her research, something called the negative feedback loop, and how if we're stuck in any of these areas, that it has massive impact on us. So I want to highlight some of these areas just to make us aware. And you know what? Every single one of us will struggle with these areas at some point. I struggle with some of these areas, and I need to really think about what I'm thinking and really be aware of it, and then change my thinking, reconceptualize it. So let me go through some of these areas, and I want you to really analyze yourself and think about, is this something that I find myself doing? Is this something that I end up thinking? Let's go. So, do you find yourself always being hard done by? Maybe you have a bit of a victim mentality. Do you find yourself dwelling on something that has been done in the past, but you get stuck in that area? Maybe you find it hard to take responsibility for your part in it. Now, I'm not talking about like a one-off thing. I'm talking about you're constantly feeling hard done by all the time. Do you find yourself always blaming somebody else? Now, let's be honest. Do you find yourself saying, oh, it wasn't me. I wasn't the only one talking. Or my friend made me do it. Or I failed my maths exam because my mum put me in a really bad mood before I left for school, so therefore it is my mum's fault. Or I didn't get that task done because, you know what, I didn't have enough support. Did you ask for support? You see, if we're stuck in these areas, it really stops us from taking responsibility and growing ourselves. Next one is being judgmental. The Bible talks a lot about making sure that we're not judgmental. In Matthew 7, he talks about, I'm sure a lot of us know it, about taking the speck out of our own eye. Taking the speck out of our own eye. It's very easy to judge somebody else. And I just want to leave you with a thought. Do not judge somebody else's sin just because it looks different from yours. None of us are perfect. The next area is being jealous and envious, and I put those two together. And I think that being jealous and envious really stops us from being grateful for what we do have. There's a quote from Malcolm X. It says, "Envy blinds men and makes it impossible for them to think clearly." You can be so focused on what the other person has or how the other person is being treated and forget what you have. And what we don't want is jealousy and envy to rob us of our joy. Don't let it steal your joy. Don't let what somebody else has steal your joy. Do you find yourself being critical, maybe always having fault? Do you see yourself criticizing other people? And that's very, very dangerous because we can overlook, somebody could be doing something really, really good. You know, we are all unique and we all have amazing qualities. And being critical all the time can stop us from overlooking and appreciating the good in the person. Maybe you've missed their value. Be careful about being critical. Being suspicious. I want you to think about, are your thoughts factual? Are they based on evidence? Or are you just being suspicious all the time? Maybe it's about you letting go of your past insecurities. Are you finding yourself thinking that somebody's always out to get you, or, you know, thoughts like that? You see, sometimes we can think the worst about somebody. All of these things affect our relationships and does really impact our future and how we work with other people. And also it's just mental blockers. It stops us from really thinking clearly. First thing is just to be aware of them. So go back over them, reflect on them, think about the ones that you need to work on, maybe do some research yourself. Again, there's a verse in the Bible that talks about the things that we should be thinking about. So it says, "Finally, brethren, think about whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good report. If there's any virtue in anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things." Really intentionally thinking about these things. Maybe you could look at the area that you're struggling with, the toxic area, and replace it with one of these values, to think about something that's right, to think about something that's lovely. So turn it around for good. Let's be aware of our thinking and how it is impacting our future. This year in some mind management, in being aware of our thinking and making sure that we are thinking good things, reflecting and meditating on God's word, so that what we think produces a healthy mind and a healthy life.